Dahmer here, and I decided to make a video of my top 15 favorite heavy. Most of them are heavy, some of them are heavier than others, but the term heavy can be used in so many different languages. But I think you'll dig the 15 that I decided to pick. So we're going to start off with an album that I picked up in 2002. I believe, I think it was FYE at this time, in Middletown, New York, with a buddy of mine named Mike DuPont. Told me to pick up Satyricon Nemesis Divinia. The album came out in 1996, I believe, and this is actually my favorite black metal album of all the black metal bands that I listen to. And it's not like any other black metal record where it's just constant, what do they call it, blast beats and things of that nature. There's a lot of harmonies to it. There's a lot of parts to this album that usually are really exciting to listen to. I'm always excited for my favorite parts of this album, which includes tracks such as Dawn of a New Age, Mother North, Immortally Passion, and title track Nemesis Divinia. If you like black metal, if you started getting into black metal, I'd advise you to pick this up. This is the 2016 20-year anniversary version, so better quality and an excellent buy. My next one, we're going all the way back to 1992. This is a live album by S.O.D. called Live in Budokan. I was introduced to this by my friend in high school. His name was Adam. He used to show me some of the crazy songs and the things that the crazy lyrics that they would sing about. It's exactly the way Scott Ian had said that S.O.D. was meant to be, which was a lot of fun. I love the Speak English or Die album, which was 1985. But this one, they basically do most of the songs from that album. Though I consider this one very exciting. This one's very exciting. And there's so many great catchphrases in it. This one has tracks such as March of S.O.D., Sergeant D and the S.O.D., Kill Yourself, Pyofanu, Milano Mosh, Speak English or Die, No Turning Back, Fuck the Middle East, The Douche Crew, Get a Real Job, and it even has a couple of tracks that they do of Stigmata and Thieves from Ministry and Territorial Pissings by Nirvana. So that's a great buy right there. You got Billy Milano from M.O.D., you got Charlie and Scott Ian from Anthrax. So if you love thrash, crossover thrash and things of that nature, that's the best. That's my favorite live album around. The next one I have right here is from 1990. This is Jane's Addiction, Ritual de lo Habitual. Isn't quite as heavy as the other ones that I had just spoke of, but this one will always be forever in my heart. And in no way, shape, or form is this my favorite list of all time, because there's so many that I had to leave out that weren't involved in heavier music. I'm sure you're asking, well then, why is this one on here? Like I said, heavier is in, more languages than one. And this album, Ritual de lo Habitual, really speaks volumes to me as far as heaviness goes. This one has songs such as Stop, No One's Leaving, Ain't No Right, Been Caught Stealing, and my favorite track of all on here called 3 Days, which is it's like an 11-minute long masterpiece that you kind of wonder where the hell they get such a great idea, such a beautiful track. And they broke up after this album, so it had to be a masterpiece. The next one is a band that we're listening to right now. This is the 1992 Alice in Chains Dirt, from what people would call the grunge era. But in no way, shape, or form have I ever considered Alice in Chains grunge. I always put them on a higher pedestal than that. Not to, put down grunge or anything like that. I mean, grunge is its own thing. But I think that Alice in Chains were definitely in a league of their own. And this is another album that a friend of mine in high school introduced me to. His name was Adam. This one has such tracks as Dem Bones, Damn That River, Rain When I Die, Sick Man, Rooster, my favorite track, Junkhead, and Angry Chair, Excellent Bye, right here. Definitely music you can move to. Definitely not my only opinion of their best record. So that's Alice in Chains Dirt from 92. If you haven't heard it, pick it up. This right here, I would consider my very first metal record. I usually tell people it's White Zombie, but in fact it's actually Rollins' band, the album Wait. I got this at a flea market because I really dug the song Liar. And when I started listening to Rollins' band, I really enjoyed the feel of the heaviness and the guitar and the really angry vocals that came along with the message that Henry Rollins was giving out. This one has such songs as Disconnect, Fool, Civilized, Liar, Step Back, Wrong Man, and Tired. I love this record very much. The case is broken. I need to get a case from a shittier CD and put it on there. So that's 1994 right there. That's greatness. And I'll be right back. Alright, so our next one was my very first introduction into the shirt that I'm wearing. I remember first hearing about the band on a news report about two boys that were arrested for the murder of a young girl who basically committed the crime, blaming a song by Slayer called Sex Murder Art from this album, Divine Intervention. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I wouldn't blame music on anything, although the lyrics are very harsh. I got this in 1995. Like I said, this is my first Slayer album. And it came with this really nifty black stencil. So I guess you could spray paint Slayer everywhere in your neighborhood. When I got this in 1996, I believe it was actually. Yeah, in 1996 I had actually gotten this. This was the most reckless, the most dangerous, and the fastest, most aggressive thing that I've ever purchased. I was very new to the metal game. I didn't really know much about Slayer or what I was into. All I knew is that when I had opened it up and seen Tom Araya's face, and then taking the CD out and seeing Slayer cut into the teenager's arms, really made the hairs in the back of my neck stand up, and made me question, am I really in for it when it comes to this? You know what I'm saying? It was very intimidating. It was something that I had never seen before, and it was very frightening in a way. So this one has tracks such as Killing Fields, Sex Murder Art, Fictional Reality, Divine Intervention, Circle of Beliefs, Serenity and Murder, and 213, which, if you didn't know, is actually about Jeffrey Dahmer, because 213 was Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment number. So that's Slayer, Divine Intervention, 1994. If you just started getting into Slayer, this is their later stuff in the 90s. Their 80s stuff, I believe, was a lot faster. But this is definitely heavier and has a little bit of a groove to it. Our next one is Megadeth, Rust in Peace. I might have to finish this video somewhere else. I had first gotten Megadeth in 1995. My first one was Euthanasia, and usually that's my first pick as far as Megadeth goes. But after hearing Holy Wars and the incredible machine-like way that it's performed and the way that it was built, no way, shape, or form that I could pick any other album. The songs are brutal, they're fast. Some people would consider this Megadeth's last great album. Kind of like the whole Master of Puppets thing that people talk about with Metallica, whereas some people would say And Justice for All was their last great album. Megadeth Rust in Peace for me is very invigorating. It'll get you up in the morning, that's for sure. And the song Holy Wars should be an inspiration to anybody in the music industry that anything can be done, because Holy Wars, Punishment is Due, and Hangar 18 are songs that are complete masterpieces, and I wouldn't even know where to begin to write a song that incredible. So that's Megadeth, 1990. I actually have two of them in here, the original, and I also have the remaster. If you can find the original, I believe that they're really rare nowadays. So that's Megadeth, 1990. Rust in peace. Our next album is something that I had heard from a news report on MTV News years later. I saw it on YouTube about Ministry, Al Jorgensen and Ministry. And like I said, this was, years later. The band that I'm talking about is the 1990 Last Temptation of Reed by Lard, which features Al Jorgensen and Ministry playing music, and Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys vocals. If you're interested in punk and industrial, this is an album that is right up your alley. It's fast. It's very strange. In some ways, it's very awkward. This is one of those albums that would be a great buy to have if you want to make your friends think that your music selection is a bit odd and strange. Because 9 times out of 10, if you go up to somebody on the street and talk about Lard, they're going to think that you're talking about a cooking agent. So, this album contains such songs as Fork Boy, Pineapple Face, Mate, Spawn and Die, Can God Fill Teeth, and the remake of They're Coming to Take Me Away. Like I said, this is came out in 1990, so this is around the Ministry era of the mind is a terrible thing to taste. And this is something that you could find on eBay. Like I said, this is a very interesting buy if you're into industrial and you're into punk. It's definitely more industrial than punk, so if you're into industrial metal, I think you'll definitely enjoy it, especially if you're a Ministry fan. Next up, we have a band from... where are they from again? I'll have to look that up. I believe they're from Tennessee. This is Today Is the Day, Temple of the Morning Star. I had heard of this album from an old friend of mine named Mike DuPont. He's on Metal Shirt Collectors. I believe he's also on Record and CD Collectors. This, from what I hear, I guess is grindcore. This is the 20th anniversary from the 1997 version of Temple of the Morning Star. This is a very, I would have to say, acquired taste kind of a record. This one has such tracks as Temple of the Morning Star, The Man Who Loves to Hurt Himself, As High as the Sky, Mankind, Crutch, Root of All Evil, Satan is Alive, and Rabid Lassie. Like I said, to some people it could be very hard to listen to. It's very ear-piercing, it's loud, it's raw, it's very in-your-face. There's some really cool samples in there from the Playboy channel back in the 90s and things of that nature. So this is a cool buy to get. So like I said, this is the 20th anniversary. So that's Today Is the Day, Temple of the Morning Star. Great buy. This next one, a stranger that I had met over in Media Play had suggested me get, because I had asked him what's good nowadays, and he had suggested that I pick up Macabre. Macabre are a band that write songs that are about serial killers. And this one obviously is a biography of Jeffrey Dahmer. from beginning to end, from when he started playing with dog guts to when they took his brain out to analyze it. This album came out in the year 2000. I could honestly say that this was my record of 2000. I used to listen to it nonstop. I guess you can call it kind of like a comedy kind of a thing. I mean, I'm sure they're very serious on what they do. But there are a lot of references to different songs on here, such as She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain, and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory's the Oompa Loompa song, and Going to Grandmother's House. Such songs include Dog Guts, The Hitchhiker, In the Army Now, Exposure, The Ambassador Hotel, The Bathhouse, Jeffrey Dahmer and the Chocolate Factory, Conrack, and Temple of Bones. So if you're interested in serial killers, if you're interested in albums that have a certain theme, and especially things that are really funny, definitely check this album out, Macabre Dahmer. Okay, so now we've gotten into my top 5 favorite heavy albums, which I have right here. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Marilyn Manson, Portrait of an American Family from 1994. I was exposed to Marilyn Manson back when I was in high school, looking in Hit Parader magazine, searching for pictures of Pantera, White Zombie, and Megadeth, but could only see pictures of this guy, Marilyn Manson, wondering what the hell I'm looking at. With such songs as Cake and Sodomy, Lunchbox, Organ Grinder, Dope Hat, Get Your Gun, Wrapped in Plastic, Snake Eyes and Sissies, My Monkey. This album is a complete nightmare. I think it's Marilyn Manson's most unique and spookiest, possibly scariest album. This was obviously before he had all the fame of Antichrist Superstar and Mechanical Animals, and definitely before the Smells Like Children EP with Sweet Dreams. So I feel that this album was his most honest attempt at showing who he really was, and it definitely was not pretty, and I will always consider this era of Marilyn Manson to be quite an inspirational part of my life. If you are interested in early Marilyn Manson, this would be a great album to buy. I don't listen to any of his new stuff. I'm not interested. But that's one of my absolute favorites. One of my favorite images to portray as well. The next one is a band that I'm listening to right now. I discovered these guys from Beavis and Butthead when they showed the video NWO. And I'm talking about none other than Ministry's 1992 Psalm 69. Yet another industrial album that from the Chicago-oriented wax track Ministry. The album includes songs such as Hero, Psalm 69, NWO, Just One Fix, and Jesus Built My Hot Rod. It also contains probably what I would consider my favorite song, Scarecrow, which is a very spooky song about a scarecrow listening to our thoughts and becoming human, being around civilization. And If you're a Ministry fan, if you're not a Ministry fan, I would advise you to pick this up, because this album is a kick in the fucking balls. And anyone who listens to this album and has experienced this album knows exactly what I'm talking about. The next one you can consider my second heavy metal album, which I was introduced to from MTV when I used to record MTV late at night to see what videos I could record. And that is White Zombie Astro Creep 2000. And the song would be More Human Than Human. This album, what can I say, is a mix of everything. Some people say it's industrial. Some people say it's groove metal. Some people say that it's something that they've never heard of before. Think of it as like a comic book version of music. It is the last that White Zombie did that was any good. They had come out with a remix album called Super Sexy Swinging Sounds, which I thought was awful. White Zombie, I believe, broke up in 1997. So this, their 1995 hit Astro Creep 2000, contains such songs as Electric Head, Supercharger Heaven, Creature of the Wheel, Grease Paint and Monkey Brains, More Human Than Human, and also contains the track Blood, Milk and Sky, which is definitely an amazing track. The booklet is just as amazing as the CD, with Rob Zombie's artwork. It's a lot of fun to look at. The album is a lot of fun to listen to, and it's definitely something that will get the blood going in the morning, afternoon, or the night. So definitely check out the 1995 White Zombie Astro Creep 2000. Okay, the next one I had heard from a very good friend of mine named Adam in high school. This was the first album that I had ever gotten. This is the first album I had ever gotten by them. And it is by far one of the heaviest things that I had ever heard, especially back then. It was almost unlistenable. And I'm talking about the Pantera 1994 Far Beyond Driven. This album is the epitome of what can I say? Very heavy groove metal. They do not hold any punches. They wanted this album to be an acquired taste just for real Pantera fans, and that is exactly what they got. This is the 2004 20-year anniversary release, containing such songs as Strength Beyond Strength, Becoming, 5 Minutes Alone, I'm Broken, Hard Lines and Sunken Cheeks, Slaughtered, and Shedding Skin. This album is a complete assault on the senses. It is a heavy metal masterpiece from beginning to end. And just as you're flying high as the sky, it will bring you down into a pillow of feathers with the last cover of the Black Sabbath song Planet Caravan. If you're a Pantera fan, there's no use in saying anything. Obviously, you have this. If you are into heavy music and don't have this, I'd advise you to pick this up and get with the club. Last but not least, I may be able to consider this my favorite album of all time. Possibly. Don't quote me on that because anything can change. But this is an album that I had gotten in 1995 along with Pantera Far Beyond Driven. And I'm talking about the 1994 Nine Inch Nails The Downward Spiral. This is an album that I have been quoted as saying, anyone who's going through a nervous breakdown, this album is right there beside them. With such influencing and frightening songs as Mr. Self-Destruct, Piggy, March of the Pigs, Ruiner, The Becoming, Big Man with a Gun, Eraser, and Reptile. This song, the songs on this album will definitely bring you back down to earth. Anyone who is soul searching on who they are, this is an album to find out who you really are. And there seems to be a theme for this album, but the only theme I can figure out is how this album identifies with me, and that's how I look at music back in the 90s, and it's probably the reason why I don't like anything today. This is the 2004 10-year anniversary box. I believe I do still have the original inside, just as all the other ones that I have shown that are the 20-year anniversaries. So this is an industrial masterpiece. Any Nine Inch Nails fan that does not have this would not be considered a Nine Inch Nails fan, in my opinion. It is a very dark album, and I advise people never to listen to it at night, and never listen to it on headphones unless you're really prepared to hear what this album contains into it. So that is my top 15 favorite heavy-ish albums. I hope I influenced you to make your record or CD collection a little bit bigger, and I hope I inspired you on some new material that you may not have known about or you questioned about. Please like and subscribe. They're using the chainsaws again, so I'm wrapping this up. But please tell me what you thought about my countdown, my list. And like I said, subscribe for more videos. Stay metal.